countdown was far too long.
That's good. I love that countdown.
We've never done that before. That was interesting.
We haven't, no. It's quite cool to do it. And actually, it was quite good because it meant a few people could see that we were going live before we were going live. So if you can see us, if you can hear us, please let us know. We always want to know we're not talking to cyberspace without anyone there. So drop us a like, give us a comment. If you've got a question, throw those in as well. That would be fantastic. This week, I am joined with Lauren and I am joined with Neil. And we're going to talk a little bit in detail about kind of Lauren and what's going on with you and your area and how it's going to working with Dan and Neil a little bit as well. Starting your own company. It's all exciting stuff, right?
It's so exciting. I mean, it's I had no expectation on what was going to happen, but it's just absolutely blown up. And the boys are just brilliant to work with. We're trying to get more work done, get sidetracked all the time, but it's just amazing. So yeah, I'm really, really happy to be on board with them.
Yeah, it's cool. I think you said when the Down the Lens video and photo shoot took place, that was kind of when it's all like, oh, this is real now.
It's funny, isn't it? Because you have in your head what you think it's going to look like, going to present yourself and how you're going to be, and you want to bring your personality across, but also be professional. But I had the best time doing Down the Lens ever. I probably should have been a lot more nervous than I was, but it was such great fun. Loads of outtakes, which we can't obviously broadcast too much. But it was amazing. But it did feel, that's when it really kind of kicked in. I was like, oh my God, it's like a 180 from what I'm used to in a corporate type of world. And I think that just gives you a real insight. And then just seeing what everybody else has been doing, you know, like all the recently new partners as well. It clicked and it all just made sense, literally there and then.
It's a fun blueprint. It's been a lot of evolution though, Neil, hasn't it? Since you celebrated 3 years just recently, didn't you? I saw that on your Facebook page. So shout out to you guys. And by guys, obviously, and Neil, people know that by now. They've seen the board. They've heard the rumor.
Can't have one without the other.
But how much evolution have we seen in that 3-year window?
Well, I don't know if you saw, but Lauren, Dan and I done a video that's just gone out about half an hour or an hour ago. And even when we were editing that and putting that together, we looked back at images and clips of when we first started, and even our old boards, which now, if you look at our old boards, Ian, you'll probably throw up. But you just like,
I mean, they're disgusting.
Yeah, but that's the thing, like even the branding, how we portray ourselves and how we conduct ourselves. And I think the main thing for us, and I keep saying about it, is we're still just so passionate as we are we were day one. And that comes across massively to everyone that we deal with, which I think is great. But yeah, three years, Dan and I haven't killed each other yet. It's been very close on many occasions, but no, we're both still living. So all good.
Subtle changes make a big difference. I've got the old brand here in the backdrop. Look, just having that purple gradient go across in comparison.
I used to love that gradient.
No, I know, I did as well. But then you look at the new versus the old and you think, wow, yes, you know, whole parts are different. Mike's jumping in and saying hello. It's official. Welcome, Lauren. Obviously, the launch happened just the other week. And we're going to touch base on Winnersh, and we're going to touch base about the launch and everything that's going on there. We've got some of the other avocado partners joining. Lauren, welcome. Who's the better agent, Dan or Neil?
You see, this is the problem now. When there's three of you, the dynamic does change, but they're both very different in how they work. Then yeah, there's no better agent in all of this. Can I say me?
Hey, that's not what you said earlier.
Dan's on an appointment. Neil's at home on a live call. I don't know. We'll let the public decide. If you've got an opinion, Dan or Neil, your team Dan or team Neil. Let's start the split. Actually, I don't like the idea of starting.
Yeah, I'm here to bring it closer, not divide it.
Yeah, they do say there's a big thing about the power of three, and I'm a big believer in the power of three. The three, in any way you look at things, whether it's a fitness plan, whether it's a business strategy, whether it's life, everything. Power of three. If you can tick the power of three, you are winning. So yeah, good questions there, and appreciate them coming in. So what are you most looking forward to, Lauren? What the next big step? You've launched, you've done the video, you've got the marketing, you've got the socials going, you've been out on a load of appointments with different agents, but what are you most looking forward to next?
I mean, it's a combination of things, to be honest with you. I think that the main thing is having the freedom to be able to do what we are passionate about. You know, we've all come from corporate backgrounds where you're just so limited on what you can do, and you're under these really tight reins constantly. And you always have to be so professional in a certain manner, and you're just clones of each other. And I think for me, it's for so long I was kind of almost craving something more, and I couldn't quite put my finger on what it was. And actually it's just having that freedom. You know, like today I can't say too much just yet, but I was out earlier, and I was there for almost.
Oh, she's got something up her sleeve.
She's got no. But I was there for almost 3 hours. And I spent, half an hour just chit-chatting. We spent another half an hour just at the dining table. It was so real and normal. And for me, that's the biggest thing. I think the more you can have that and be yourself, the better results you're going to have. And I'm really excited to see how it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and just blowing up. So yeah, it's a funny old thing, isn't it? From, like I say, from what you're used to. So
I think when you're on a live call and you say, "Oh, I can't say that," you always then have to say it. That's the rules of the live, is it not, Neil?
Absolutely. If you've got something up your sleeve, you've got to share it.
Yeah, you don't have to give the
or
whole
at least
game.
Is that you
little sneaky.
fishing?
Little sneaky.
Well, there might be some videos coming. There might be one coming up this evening, and there might just be a take on already.
Okay. So watch out. What's your Instagram? What's your Facebook for people that want to see your first live, your first property video?
So you can find all on my socials under Lauren Stearman Avocado Winnersh, and everything will pop up there. I've also got the website, and Dan and Neil are just tagging me in absolutely anything and everything. So yeah, you definitely can't miss me.
Well, looking forward to that. Neil, side move here. How's the market in general? How are you finding things just overall from your point of view?
Yeah, it's still decent. I'm having to explain it to a lot of people that are moving within the market that kind of feel the pinch and feel the pressure, but don't realize the bigger picture, that it's still a good market to be moving in the sense that, yes, prices have fluctuated and kind of these new rates are the new norm and everything like that. And people are just getting on with it now. So the buyers that are out there are decent buyers, but for people that were going on the market or had valuations 6 to 9 months ago or a year ago that are now going, well, actually, I need to come down by 10 grand, 20 grand. If they're upsizing, the one that they're trying to buy is coming down by 40 grand, 50 grand. So it's a very cliche saying, but it's all relevant and relative. People are still moving within the market. It's still a good time to be buying. It's just not as hectic. That's a word that I used yesterday. It's just not as crazy as it was last year.
Neil, do you feel that there's like an air of kind of calmness around the market at the moment? Because there seems to be, everybody's just a little bit more level-headed with it. There's none of this kind of like panic stations and frantic behavior. Everybody seems to be pretty kind of confident and just calm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's reassuring, to be fair, because last time it was, right, I've seen this house for 2 minutes. I want to offer 20 grand over asking price. What do I do? What do I do? Yeah. And you're like, well, this is the market of now. Let's run with it. And then you'd be like, down the line, people were just so keen to secure something, move on and buy. And yes, don't get me wrong, there wasn't many that would fall through because everyone just didn't want to risk losing what they were buying and having to search again or anything like that. But now there has been obviously issues with people's mortgage rates and stuff like that, and people have had to sell again. But yeah, in general, it's a lot calmer. And people are just going into the transaction going, right, this is what I've got to do. This is where I need to get to. Let's make it happen.
Well, it's been quite an interesting 2 weeks. There's been some big trigger stuff that I think has happened in the last month. One, the kids went back to school. It's always a great market, September and October. I think we've seen valuations and listings increase. But then the base rate at the last kind of meeting with the Bank of England, where there was so many rumours that that was going to increase, to see that stationary and stay the same really was a blessing, I think, for the market and for everyone, I think, that's buying and selling and thinking of moving between now and the next sort of 6 to 9 months, because what that allowed the lenders to do is to continue that trend of dropping rates, which we've now seen for 6, maybe 7 or 8 weeks. And this week we've seen the start of the 4.95 interest rates, which is amazing. It's not amazing in context to the last 3 years, but it's amazing in context to the last, let's say, 6 months. Because if we start seeing things with a 4, that feels a bit more normal, I think, to a lot of people. And then I'm always interested to see what happens with the trends when the Bank of England doesn't increase things, when the interest rates drop, when listings come to the market. What's the result? And this morning, Zoopla kindly emailed me this just in time for the live call. They always try and get it in for our Thursday chat. They know we do it.
They know.
They're very aware. They're still working on their branding. It's a bit off shade with their purple, but they'll come in line soon, I'm sure. But that middle statistic there that says 12%, what that shows for people that are out there watching, thinking, well, what is the market doing? Well, there's 12% more demand across the last 4 weeks in comparison to the 4 weeks before, which we've not seen it in double digits, and it's actually been dropping rather than increasing, but we're now seeing that demand is increasing. And that basically means there's 12% more buyers registering in the last 4 weeks in comparison to the 4 weeks before that. And the stats either side of that show how important it is to get your pricing right, because, and this is a point that I know you talk about a lot, Neil, but Lauren, on this one, to see that the discount to asking price average is 4.2% as a minus, but the actual price achieved in terms of inflation is just 0.5%. It shows how important it is to get that price right, because you can't cheat this market, can you? You can't overprice and expect to win. It won't work, really.
No, not at all. And I think that's a big thing, which I'm learning as well. Is that you just have to get it right from the start. And if you don't do that, then it's all just going to crumble in front of you. And, ultimately the goal is to get the best price anyway, so you have to open up that window of opportunity. If you narrow it too early, where are you going to go with it? So, that stat seems bang on. Yeah.
I think so, Neil. It doesn't mean you price cheap, but it means you have to price right. And that doesn't guarantee you a buyer. You have to get the marketing and the whole process right as well, don't you?
Yeah, it's a fine balance of it all, really. And obviously, if you listen to the agents which are renowned for pricing high to win your business, and then I've said this to loads of different people, and they're like, "Yeah, I heard that from the estate agent," but they say if it doesn't sell at this price, we'll just bring it down, and they openly say that. Whereas if the market has been and did dip a little bit, you'll just end up chasing your tail on it. So you lose that window of opportunity that Lauren said of the first 2 weeks of marketing is the most important. It's a fresh property. It's a new listing. It's really where you want to thrive and maximize on the interest coming in. To get the price right is a hell of a lot more important now than ever. But again, we're noticing that the number of people offering, like I said earlier, is just a little bit lower. So your offers are going to be closer to the asking price. They're not going to be extremely over like they were last year. So again, you just want to make sure that get it right, make it look attractive, get as much foot traffic through the door, and create that urgency and that competition where you can.
Dan, just on cue, how are you, bud?
Yeah, not bad. I just rushed back, finished my last appointment, so all good. Sorry, I was
hasn't even taken his shoes off.
You've missed 15. You've missed 15 minutes where most of the conversation has been around this.
Okay.
It's been quite interesting, actually. We've had a lot of comments from the public, whether you're Team Dan or Team Neil. And what we've decided is there is no Team Dan or Team Neil. There is just Dan and Neil. It is one.
Absolutely, yeah. We're pretty much one person. If you put my name together with Neil, it basically is Dan Neil, isn't it? So it's like winning.
Loser.
Let's talk about Winnersh. Obviously, Lauren, it's the patch that you're going to go in and kind of really focus on. And I know Dan and Neil, you both felt it really needs that undivided attention, because it's a growing area, isn't it? You know, the amount of new estates that have popped up in Winnersh over the last couple of years is amazing. And I guess it's not Wokingham, it's not Reading, it's just its own little place, isn't it? A bit like Shinfield is as well, but it's its own little place. It's a really cool market. There's some great buyers, some great sellers, good house price range as well. And people tend to do that upsize, but you do find they want to come out of Reading, they go to Winnersh. Maybe they can't quite afford Wokingham, or they want something newer, they go to Winnersh. So it's got a real sort of pull from all different locations. But Lauren, you're obviously close by as well. So how's it been getting out there and, you know, getting around and meeting the local area, meeting local people, doing the videos, the content in Winnersh? How's it been?
It's been really good, actually. I've just absolutely dived in, and I'm sure the boys are completely sick of me from just saying every single day that I'm here, there, and everywhere, and trying to it's all about networking. You know, it really is just getting out and chatting to people. And if it, you know, it can just be one of the shops up the road, or just bumping into people in the street, or, you know, when you're out for walks, just engaging. I think that plays such a big part. You know, the more I can get my face out there, the better, because obviously it's been the two of them for so long. And then for me, obviously having that transition period whilst obviously doing a lot with them, it's just going out there. And I think you're right in saying that it's such a broad market out there as well for Winnersh, and it's almost like a through town, it feels, you know, people who are trying to get that little bit further out from either side, you know, whether it's the Reading side, the Wokingham side, the Woodley, you know, or even as far as even potentially London, you know, for some of these families moving over for school. So, and you've got some great kind of like starter 1-2 beds, and you've got the really massive, stunning big houses as well. And you've got everything in between. So I think for me, it's all just about, it's just getting out there, you know, truthfully, and just speaking to people and not being afraid of doing it.
There's a lot of power in that train station, because you've got, you know, you're a couple of minutes from Reading, aren't you? Which allows you to be in London in 40 minutes or whatever, if you jump to Paddington. And then, you know, you can obviously go the other way if you just want to go one route into Waterloo, or if you are commuting and working in Reading, a couple of minutes, like we say, and you're in that train station. So it's a really nice kind of niche position that only a couple of other spots have kind of got, I guess. And you don't have that hustle and bustle of feeling like you're in one-way traffic in a town centre or a city. And that's quite nice in itself, especially for families. That makes a big difference, I think. Yeah,
absolutely. You've kind of got this like semi-rural feel to it anyway. You know, there's so much green space around, whilst you've still got a lot of the more established areas. You know, you can walk 5 minutes down the road and you're in a really beautiful space where it's quiet and you've got a park and so on. So yeah, I think there's a lot to be said. And, you know, for, you know, even if you're just a young professional, for example, or you have got an established family already, you can probably dot yourself anywhere in Winnersh to make it work for you. And you know, it goes with the commuters as well. Long story short, my car broke recently and I had no choice but to get the train. And apparently I have to share everything. So I was going to evaluation. And I literally jumped on the train and just went straight on through. And it just, there's something quite wholesome about that type of community and environment as well. You know, what we were saying earlier, this whole like calmness, it always had that as well. So just going through, it was, it was really cool.
Nice. Let's talk about your background then. So how long you've been in property, what's the career look like? And, you know, just let the people watching, let the public, let the people of Winnersh and surrounding areas know kind of what your career has looked like in the property world.
Yeah, so hard to believe even saying it, but over 9 years ago, I started. It was truthfully by complete accident. I was working in Waitrose in Twyford, funny enough, straight out of college, and wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. In my family, we've got a lot of background on developers. So I thought maybe it's a route, and just one day I happened to ask some local people who used to come in for their coffees in Waitrose if they were looking for new staff. I didn't know what they did, and turns out I was speaking to an owner of an estate agent. 3 months later, I was working there. So fresh faced out of college and just dived straight in and actually became quite a big fish in a little sea very quickly. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with Twyford, but Twyford is, back then a decade ago, very much like a small, quaint little village. There's a lot of people who have been there for decades and decades, had the kids are grown up, moved on. It's that type of more old school type of village. And I ended up working in agency for 2 years and got a contact into new build, and then did the transition over to new build. And then I stayed there for 7 years. So quite a long time. So definitely a new build specialist if you've got any questions. So I was there for 7 years. I was with a few different companies in the middle of that as well. But my longest run was 5 years with Taylor Wimpey, and started off in West London region. And again, very, very quickly became quite established in the company. So I was doing all the sales bits and had the really good opportunity to start running sites within probably 18 months of being in the company. So I went from started in High Wycombe, went over to then Hook and did a really, really wicked all apartment site in Hook, which I ran. It was like 62 apartments. And that was in the peak of Help to Buy, may I add, as well. So it was like a first time buyer's dream there. And then just floated around a little bit more, kind of did Surrey, Guildford, went back then again to High Wycombe, and then I transitioned into London. And that's where my change was. And that was probably about 4+ years ago now.
Nice.
Which was wicked. Yeah, it was brilliant. So
she gets about.
She does.
It's good though. I think for Winnersh, having that new build understanding is going to be really important for those first time sellers that have bought all the new builds in Winnersh that you can then communicate with.
Absolutely.
Dan, you had a technical issue there. You managed to post all of the pages that you were broken.
Yeah. There we go. I was broken for a minute. Yeah, I managed to switch computers, so I don't know what was going on with it.
We've got a question coming in from Ben here.
Oh God! You know what?
On the spot, aren't they?
Yeah. Do you know, funnily enough, Neil and I were talking about this today when we met up and did some bits earlier. Do I like the top knot? It's interesting.
Very estate agent answer.
It serves a purpose.
Hello, fence. But she's also learned quite quickly that I don't care.
Yeah, he was talking about getting it cut off because it's slicked back.
No, it's because it looks like a slick back. I look dodgy, so people.
The problem is,
previous hair.
Yeah, it's just the same haircut and style every time, isn't it? Really.
I remember about a year ago when you actually pulled it out and you had the full curtains look. I mean, if I'm honest, I'm quite jealous. Yeah. I'm quite jealous of the top knot. Look at that.
I mean, to be fair, it's a solid bit of hair you've got there.
That is. Look at that. I said to my barber earlier, I said one day I'll cut it off for charity. So watch this space.
It's a nice idea, actually.
Well, can I have it?
You are my charity.
I'll take it. I'll take it too.
We'll have half each.
Yeah, I think that'll work. Actually, that'd be more than enough. Dan, I asked Neil earlier, and I've chatted through it with Lauren as well. But how are you finding the market overall? We had some stats on here that showed buyer demand is up 12% over the last kind of 4 weeks, and we think that potentially is because the base rate stayed the same and interest rates have dropped. But pricing's so important that the difference in property selling and actually going on the market for has got quite a big kind of 4, nearly 5% chunk difference. So how are you finding things at the moment?
I still say it's positive. People are buying, but I think the key is always the price, right? You've got to try your best to get that value right. And I think people have got to realise that maybe prices from 6 to 12 months ago are different now. It's a little bit less. However, if you're moving within that market and your reason is to buy another home, whether that be upsizing or sideways move or downsizing, it's relevant, isn't it, to what you can afford? And if you, I think now with this maybe more stable interest rates, being under 5% is nice. I think just creeping into the 4s now, and it's actually a bit more normal. I think the confidence will come back in quite significantly come the start of the year. I think it is now anyway already, but I think, come January, everyone who's just been holding off a little bit now will just go straight to it. So I actually think we're going to look at a really positive year next year, maybe a bit more normal, because it has been, as most people know, with watching us and so forth, and trying to buy and sell in the market, been a bit crazy and intense, I think, for both sellers how to move and buyers buying stuff too quickly.
Did anyone else notice the synergy between Dan's answer and my answer when he wasn't on?
You are one.
You are one.
We are Uno.
Told you, Dan Neil.
I like that. I think it's a fair and honest assessment of where the market sits at the moment. And yeah, I think September has been what the market needed, because I think everyone knows where they stand. There isn't the kind of, I think there isn't the whole real negative doom mongering kind of narrative that's out there. And I think there is more positivity out there, and it just feels a bit more normal. So that's what people wanted, and rates will continue to drop. You know, mortgage rates are going to keep dropping between now and probably for the next 18 months. Not aggressively. We've seen them aggressively spike and aggressively come down sort of 3-4 years ago. They're not going to be aggressive. They're just going to be do is my take on it. And I've spoke to a lot of brokers on that, and we're all aligned on that page that's the case. So yeah, bring on the buyers. And if we're going to see buyers increase by 10, 11, 12% every 4 weeks, that's going to put us in a really nice place by January, February, because it probably means we'll be back to kind of normal buyer activity as well, which will be pretty exciting too.
And to be honest, because of the areas we cover in the home counties, you know, specifically the ones we cover between us and Winnersh and surrounding, there's a lot of people that are moving. A lot of the buyers I'm speaking to at the moment that are offering are moved from overseas and still want to live here to the schools and so forth. So there's a lot of activity out there and people wanting to live where we are. So we're quite blessed in terms of the areas we operate in, because they're going to be popular. So if people are thinking of selling, don't be too afraid, because there are people wanting to move here.
Dan, just a quick one before we go to Neil, because he was about to say something as well. Over your left shoulder, is that a picture of two people with avocado hoodies on?
It's exactly that. That is an adult.
It should be. It'll be better.
Yeah,
it'll be better.
No, it's actually it's a Liverpool painting.
Yeah.
So
shame.
Avocado
would have been better.
Not quite avocado. But if I flipped it round, you'd see lots of avocado stuff on here, but it's behind the camera.
I think if that was an avocado, like parent and child image, that would make a beautiful Christmas card this year.
It probably would.
We can
see an advert coming. We can John Lewis, watch out.
Yeah, via Callie's design skills and trade print, we can make that happen. Neil, what were you going to say, bud? Or did Dan say exactly what you were going to say?
No, he didn't, to be fair. I was just going to point out, obviously, it will fall into a nice supply and demand, basically. I was just going to touch on you saying about rates coming down slowly, but buyer demand going up slowly. It's literally just going to level out nicely, and perfect time for that end of year flurry and then start of year flurry, I think. Feet up for Christmas, bosh again.
We've got time now, as this is Lauren's show, for one question of any nature from all three of us. This is the mastermind kind of moment that Lauren's been waiting for. So, Neil, would you like to go first? Any question that you'd like to ask? Obviously, it's not 7 o'clock yet, just to be
easy.
If you were to choose a road in Winnersh to sell a house on, what road would that be?
That's a really good question. What road would I pick?
Dan's got his favourite road in Winnersh.
100%.
And it doesn't need to be a big bad boy house, because I know where I'd choose if it was one of those. But which road are you looking forward to?
Lauren's
having
going
your soul brought out front?
Stay somewhere she's been to value now. She's like, this road.
This is where I do. Well, there's. Can I say two?
Yes,
go for it. Yeah, why not?
I'm going to say
Top
two. So the first one. Hold on, you two, before you make a comment. I am going to say Arbor Lane. And the reason why I say Arbor Lane is because when I first started my agency journey, I had a listing there, one of my first ones, and it's kind of gone full circle.
Love that.
Yeah. No, it's a real thing. It was, amazing.
Nice.
And the second one, Bluebell Meadows.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, and it is. There's just something about it there, isn't there?
Yeah, I was going to say Reading Road, brand awareness, bosh.
All the way up. Yeah, I mean, that could be my third answer.
So
there you go, top 3.
Okay.
If you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what meal would you eat?
That's a good question.
That's a really good question.
Not a protein yogurt.
Yeah, none of that. No, thank you.
It was nice.
What would I eat? I like pasta dishes, but I know they're terribly bad for you. Do you know? No, I would go tapas, Spanish tapas, because then that gives me a whole broad range.
That's cheating, that question, I'm going to say.
It's clever.
Thinking outside the box.
It's clever there. Yeah.
Right, so yeah,
tapas.
With a nice glass of wine. Could I have that?
It's a meal,
Yeah,
so
you
get the meal deal.
Okay. So I get a dessert too?
No.
Packet of crisps, sauce.
No, mine would be some milk, mate. Done.
Milk.
Yes.
Cookies and milk for me, 100%. I mean,
Every night, cookies and milk.
every day.
Seriously?
Oh, right.
Me and Sauce have synergy on cookies and milk.
Yeah,
every day, cookies and milk.
Right.
Meals would be beer and nuts. Like, yeah, that's what
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm having for dinner in a minute.
Every night.
I do like a good pint of full fat milk, to be fair.
It's good.
Full fat, mental.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm semi-skim now, all about the health,
Well, I just want it as it comes out of the. I want it as it comes out of the udder. I don't want it played around. Yeah. You want to see me in a field drinking from cows? It's weird. And what about your question?
What's your favourite holiday destination, and where's one place you really want to go to that you've never been?
So my favourite destination is any of the Greek islands. So I've just come back from it about 10 days ago again. Don't recommend mainland too much, turns out. But any of the Greek islands would do. And where would I want to go? I think somewhere like Bali or somewhere like that, really, just to go completely zen and off grid. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be meditation, you see. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah, like the problem is you give that level of inspiration to Neil, he'll book that before 7 o'clock in the next 12 months.
Already got it booked.
And he won't be going to Zen.
Oh, I will.
He's already Googled through his Alexa mopeds in Bali. Like, that's already a thing.
Yeah, that's a good question, though. It's funny because you don't really think about it, do you? Like, you just do. You just.
I've got another question.
Okay, I'm ready.
Are you in the toilet right now?
I was thinking that.
He's asked this already.
Or a cupboard under the stairs. I was thinking someone knocked in.
No, it's not. It's my door to the kitchen. Is I'm in here, but I turned my around because you got the kitchen and the living, and there's just this is a
space.
There's nothing going on here.
You'll do what I do and give people a tour. My office is now my kitchen at the minute because I'm redoing my office.
We should do like a little hide and seek thing, shouldn't we? So every time we come on, I'll go in a different place, and you have to just guess where it is.
Guess
it's not really hide and seek; it's just you moving around. But whatever. Unless you want to do it like this.
Right.
Well, I think what I will say is good luck with dominating in Winnersh and helping lots of people move home, helping lots of buyers find properties. You don't need good luck working with Dan and Neil because you're in very safe hands with two awesome estate agents and business owners.
Might need more.
I thought you were going to say good luck working with Dan and Neil.
You don't need luck with these guys. You're in very safe hands there. And I think for everyone that wants to follow Lauren's journey, check out on Instagram, Facebook. Make sure you get that next live Beat the Portals that sounds like it's coming in the next couple of days, which is super exciting. The first listing is always an amazing feeling. You remember your first listing from when you started. You will remember this one a hell of a lot more. with your new business. And don't forget to check out the Avocado socials, because we got a new launch tomorrow. We got a duo launching tomorrow. So
Excited for this one.
Super excited. There's already some quirky videos going around as well. So Lauren and them might have a bit of a content battle on who can put together the coolest video, and see if we can put Kyle to the sword of being the dominant content maker
I think
at the
he's always
moment.
going to win.
No, I was actually thinking I might do some sort of like naked press ups in the rain soon, just to try and beat Kyle, because he's really putting out there, isn't he? So I'm gonna have to do something.
It's hard.
If it's naked, you'll be all right. Nothing will touch the floor for a while.
There's a storm coming. It could be an interesting live. I'm just saying. Yeah. Well, I think Dan Naked is a great way to end the live, and we'll be back next Thursday at 6. Lauren, good luck. Dan, Neil, thanks for joining me. Make sure you check out Lauren's first listing. Make sure you check out the new partners that are launching. Shall I say where? Shall I give a little teaser?
Well, apparently you have to.
Go on.
Telford.
Ooh.
Out of patch. Telford.
Go.
They've got a hashtag already.
It's a new patch.
They've got a hashtag. Neil loves a hashtag. I'll share this one. Selling Shropshire. Coming to your screen soon.
That rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
Works well. Right. See everyone soon. Thanks for watching.
Peace and